Boom, we are live. Johnny is back. Johnny and the Greg. Greg did a great job last week. I thought I watched a little bit of it. Fun stuff.
It was.
Fight
Ken's
scene.
always great to have on.
Did you guys mention, because I passed out after like my 8th pina colada in Florida. Did you talk in a fight scene? Did you bring up King Kong versus 3 T-Rexes?
No.
That's a good fight scene. I don't know what category you'd put that in, but maybe brawling.
I even thought about it, like what we should have done is like like full CGI fight, because that is obviously a thing now. Yeah, that would have been it.
Yeah, this is the first time I actually watched it. I watched it with Gwen because it was the only thing on TV in Florida, and we were passing out. And I was watching it, and I was thinking to myself, was that Andy the whole time, like moving around there, grabbing onto whatever he had to grab on, and people were pretending they were T-Rexes coming after him type stuff?
I would think, yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. All right, guys, welcome back. Happy Memorial Day. For those of you that gave up the ultimate sacrifice for us to basically put up a podcast and not have to worry about it.
Hats off to you guys.
Much. I'm not going to go any further into that, but hats off to you, gentlemen. Absolutely. Yeah. While Greg pleases the internet gods, I'm going to sit back and drink.
Go ahead, like and subscribe. You can go to johnnyandthegreg.com to do that if you want the audio version. We are available on pretty much wherever podcasts are found. We're on Spotify. I got a guy following us on Apple. Ran into a guy at Costco yesterday. I haven't seen him in a while. And he's like, "What are you up to?" I'm like, "Oh, same. Got a podcast." He brought it up right on Apple right then and there. Started following us. So hello to Kurt.
Hello, Kurt.
Yeah. So, and we are partnered with Audible for hundreds of thousands of audiobooks for your listening pleasure. Every genre you could really ever want. And what I really like about Audible is they're starting to do like Audible exclusives, and they've got some really solid stuff out there in Audible exclusives. So you're not going to be able to get that from a bookstore. You got to get Audible to listen to that. So if you want 30-day free trial of that, you can go to audibletrial.com/JATG. 30 days, cancel at any time. Whatever you buy while you're there is yours to keep always and forever. And so if you want to get that 30 days on us, go to audibletrial.com/JATG. And hello, Marshall, who piped in on the chat.
Hey, what's up, Marshall? By the way, I read this book on the way to and from Florida.
Yeah.
The Terminal List by Jack Carr.
Soon to be a major motion picture on Netflix.
Actually, a series.
Oh, it's a series. Oh,
yeah, I think I think that's a smart way to do it with novels. That way you don't.
Oh, it totally is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think that's a great thing that Amazon's doing. They seem to be really jumping on board of making these novels into series, and that way you don't have to cram everything in a 2-hour movie and you miss important stuff. But good book. Jack Carr is an actual ex-Navy SEAL, and he just started writing. I don't know a lot about Jack Carr. I'm actually planning on listening to the Joe Rogan podcast where he had him on there. And he talks about the Terminal List. He talks about a bunch of stuff. Jack Carr seems to be a very cool individual, and he came up with a really kick-ass logo. I think you would enjoy it. So if you want to look up
his book series,
no, it's Jack Carr's logo.
So like his production company.
Yeah, because he actually has a website now where you can buy hats with that logo, shirts with that logo. I will guarantee you I will be wearing one of these because I got hooked into this character. I'm super excited to see what Chris Pratt brings to it. So hopefully it's as good as the book. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, check out The Terminal List by Jack Carr. Like Greg said, I guess you can wait till July 1st and watch the movie watch the series with Chris Pratt.
So on that topic. So if you're planning to read the book, like if you're going to take our advice and say, yep, I'm going to go pick that up, I'm going to read it, or I'm going to listen to it, whatever you want to do, because we're so close to the movie, just wait, watch the movie first and enjoy the movie.
Yeah, I kind of did it.
And then go back and read the book.
Yeah.
Because as every book reader knows, the book is always so much better than the movie. And your bar gets set so much higher And I made that mistake with the Harry Potter books. I read all of them right before the movies came out. I was like, okay, on to the next one. And I'd watch it. Like literally, I would sometimes finish the book the night before the movie came out, or the night before I went to go see the movie. And inevitably, there's some level of disappointment with that, with the idea that they left this out of the book, or there's characters really not like that, or something like that. So
right.
Always my recommendation is, if you know the movie is coming out and you're pumped up for the movie, just wait, go see the movie, enjoy that for what it is, and then go back and read the book, and maybe even heighten your enjoyment of the book a little bit more.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point. Something was talking to me at Barnes and Noble, and it's not only that, but I hate to rip on a book, because look, writing a book in itself is a monumental task that I still haven't gotten past the plot blueprint, or I guess you would call it, or the plot line.
Yeah,
still haven't gotten past that.
The storyboard. Yeah.
I still haven't gotten past that in my own personal trying to write a story. So I hate to rip on anybody, or not even rip on. I'm not here to rip, but I'm just saying that there's some books you walk away from and you're disappointed, or you're in the middle of a book and you're like, I don't give a shit. I don't care what's going on.
I just had that recently. And
so that's what was going on with me. And that's when I came across the Jack Carr series, and I go, you know what? This guy, like, everybody talks about these novels and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, I'll just pick it up, because I can't watch a movie in an airplane for some reason. I don't know why. I can't do it. Maybe it's just because the screen's too damn small and I get upset, because now it's all on your phone. You don't do it anymore. Like, there's not like the screen built in the seat behind you.
Yeah, I know. I do like it when they have that, though.
Yeah, me too.
Built-in screen. That's pretty.
Yeah, I just said, you know what? I'm going to read this. So anyway, I enjoyed it. It was good. I'm probably going to get the next one in the series to read it. So
see, and that's funny. I thought for sure you were going to be reading Grave Peril by Jim Butcher while you were down there.
Me too. I read the prologue of this and I thought, oh, this is interesting.
Because you told me you were going to read Great. So I've been listening to Great Peril all week. Like, just trying to be we could talk about it. We could like keep up and do a little book club. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're like, I read this. And I'm like, motherfucker. So
yeah, I'm
not that I hated it. I mean, certainly for sure. I love the Butcher books. So
yeah, I'm in a strange I can shift on a dime with things I'm interested in. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But hey, speaking of crazy, this whole Memorial Day, a lot of stuff happened. There's some very serious, real stuff that happened. And then there was like, everybody gave it their best on their streaming platforms. Netflix came out with Stranger Things season 4. Obi-Wan came out on Disney Plus. Maverick, the Tom Cruise sequels to Top Gun came out this weekend, and I'm sure I'm missing some. Love, Death, and Robots. That's not real mainstream, but that is something.
But if you're a fan, you know about it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought we would talk about that. I just don't know how to start any of that. Do we want to go heavy? Do we want to go real?
We can save the heavy.
Yeah.
For now, if we get into it in the band,
all right,
because it's a big topic. So
yeah, okay. So for those of you that are Star Wars fans, let's just start with Obi-Wan. If you haven't watched episode 1 or 2, what's wrong with you? I'm going to actually just let it all out right now. The first 2 episodes, because if you're a true Star Wars fan, you're going to make time to watch these 2. It's something that I think fans have been dying to see this series. Like right when they were making it up in their heads or whatever.
There's a lot of story there to tell. We've gotten bits of it through novels and comics, but even when Disney bought Star Wars, some of that we're like, well, we're going to reset some of this, and we've gotten some of it post Disney. But now, I mean, it's the return of Ewan McGregor, and so we've made really no secret on this show that we are not big fans of episodes 1, 2, and 3. I have said for a long time that they have great moments, but overall, they're not great films to me. And my opinion on that hasn't changed. But when we got the sequels, when we got 7, 8, 9, in the whole Rey series. Then I started to appreciate, I think, the beginning, episodes 1, 2, and 3 a little bit more.
I agree.
And not that they're great movies. I mean, Jake Lloyd, they definitely bet on the wrong horse there, which is unfortunate because it drove him to literal madness.
Did they give him a hard time?
I didn't think yeah, dude. He had such a hard time, like full on nervous breakdowns, addiction, like
because of how people viewed him,
because he got trashed so hard.
Oh, I didn't think there was any problem
by toxic fandom.
Yeah,
that he broke.
Come on, he was like an 8-year-old. How are you going to play Anakin
and
that
now
in depth?
I think now he's in his 30s, and I don't know what he's doing now, but I know he went away for a while. Like he had a real rough go of it.
Sorry to hear that.
Due to toxic Star Wars toxic fandom is the worst. I mean, they are terrible.
I can see that.
But my comparison between the two is like episodes 1, 2, and 3 had more purpose. I mean, we were literally telling the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
There was a over where I feel like a little bit with 7, 8, 9, we didn't have that. There was no
plan.
I mean, it wasn't Luke's redemption story. It wasn't even really a Luke story.
Right.
It was Rey's story, but nobody, like, it wasn't compelling enough. There were just so many missteps that it just seemed kind of listless for a while. Like,
I would agree. I think that's the nicer way to say that. Yes.
Where episodes 1, 2, and 3 definitely had a direction. It was like, this is where we're headed. And I think that was even evident. I've talked about this, where the novels of episodes 1, 2, and 3 are fantastic. I mean, they're really good. Yeah. Okay. You get to know so much more of what was happening in those films. Like, it's one of those things where I think if society was used to a 3-hour film at that point, and we got a 3-hour Star Wars film, they could have done a lot more, and we would have understood a lot more, rather than trying to keep it to 2 hours.
In the novel, was Jar Jar Binks like the bad guy? Because I know there's a big theory about that.
No, that's a theory, but no, there wasn't that. But you just like, okay, so one of the big things in episode 3 is that people complained that Anakin, it seemed like the Emperor made him an offer, and then he like turned on a dime. He's like, okay, yes, he bows down, he becomes a Sith,
right,
and gets christened Darth Vader,
right,
and now he's turned to the dark side. But in the novels, what they explain is like, Palpatine had been mentoring Anakin since he was a boy, and just totally pouring dark energy into him whenever he could. Like it's almost like the poison in the water, just like one little thimble of darkness at a time. And he kept preying on Anakin's fears of death and loss, first of his mother and then of Padme. And that's how he twisted everything. That's how he said, hey, I can teach you the dark side in order to save the ones that you love. And that's what he did. And it seemed like, I mean, there was a line of that in episode 3, but it's paramount through all of the novels. That of how he's being manipulated like that. And in the novels, they say how Palpatine like was secretly, like, again, pouring dark energy into Anakin so that it just made him real susceptible. And so the grooming of Anakin Skywalker did not make it into the movies.
Right.
But we're talking about Obi-Wan. So the whole thing, I mean, what I like about Obi-Wan is that it's gonna tell those stories. Ewan McGregor, for him, it was like just putting on an old comfortable suit. It seemed like he was just right back into it. And I like that. I like that he's just so comfortable in that role.
Yeah. I remember, I think I said it to you, when I found out that that they're going to make an Obi-Wan, I went, oh God, who gives a shit about an old man in a desert waiting for a boy to grow up? That was my thought. And that was my thought for a very long time. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, maybe you're doing something here. And then I saw the first 2 episodes. I was blown away in terms of, like, I was engaged.
Yeah.
Like with Boba Fett, I was kind of like, okay, that was all right. Where are we going? What's going on? oh, hey,
Yep.
the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But they had people in there that I didn't expect. I did not expect a baby Leia or a
Oh,
little Leia.
yeah, child Leia. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
I didn't expect
awesome.
that either.
That was awesome. I was
And
like, whoa,
that
what are we doing
actress
this
is
for?
like channeling Leia very well.
And that actually, I had a question for you about Leia Organa herself.
Yeah.
Is she the first? I know she's probably not the first, but is she the first damsel in distress that was not a damsel in distress? Do you know what I'm saying? Is she the first?
No, no, I wouldn't say that at all, because there were certainly characters from even the 60s and the 70s
Yeah.
that they tried to play off like the damsel in distress. I mean, you could even go back to like, the original Avengers, Mrs. Peel, yeah, she was hot, but she was not a damsel. Um, Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, beautiful, but not a damsel in
All right,
distress.
thank you. Yeah, I knew I was wrong, but I felt like Leia was. It just felt to me like Leia was the first to be a strong woman character that did not need a man's help.
Yeah,
like she was not a damsel in distress. She never needed that.
No, I believe I would say, being the ages that we are, that was our first exposure,
taste of it
to a woman like that. To a woman like that, yeah, I would think that that was probably in our minds our first exposure to that, but certainly not in media in general were they the first.
God,
I think certainly some of the best.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, I was very pleased with that. My only concern is did they screw up a timeline there at the end?
Yeah, from what I understood. Now I haven't gotten into the lore of the animated series as much. I've watched them all, but I will be the first to say, like, I binged them all and I was doing other things. I'm folding laundry, making dinner, doing other things around the house while it's on. So the death that happens at the end of the second episode may just be a perceived death. The other thing that happened in Star Wars World this weekend is that there was a giant Star Wars convention called Celebration out in Anaheim.
My sister Kim was there.
Yeah, she was. She had some great posts. So one of and when they do these kind of things, these giant nerd conventions, they also release a lot of trailers, a lot of news, a lot of like get hyped up about a lot of stuff. And one of the things that they did is they released a preview for a video game called Jedi Survivor, which is the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, which stars a character by the name of Cal Kestis. Very cool game, fantastic storyline. And it looks like the Grand Inquisitor is also in that game, which is set around the time of Obi-Wan, possibly after. I'm not totally sure on the exact timeline of that, but we'll see.
My only guess to that is that the Grand Inquisitor is more of a title than it is an actual person, right? And maybe you wear the makeup and you have those red stripes.
I don't know if that's a species or if
I don't know either. They haven't gone into it. But when I saw that, I was shocked. I was actually shocked. I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, that's the Sith, man. That's, they're not.
Or if I've heard they're not Sith, they're not Jedi.
They're not Sith. They are Jedi hunters. They're trained by Palpatine and Vader. They are Jedi hunters. In this, the Sith are still doing the rule of two. One Sith and one Darth Lord. And so they're not Sith per se, but they are dark force users. But they haven't achieved the rank of Sith.
That seems like such a stupid rule. The rule of two. You're always going to be outnumbered and you always have to watch out.
Oh, but it wasn't always like that. So when you get into the Old Republic, there were literally hundreds of Jedi, hundreds of Sith.
Yeah.
Hundreds of dark Jedi.
Yeah.
So there's another series that got announced. There's Tales of the Jedi, which was a comic series that I used to love. And then there was another one, Star Wars Acolyte, which I think is a movie project. And those are going to go back to the Old Republic where it should be, unless Disney decides to change what used to be canon. Literally thousands of Jedi, thousands of Sith, all
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, all kind of vying for power.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
And
I liked Obi-Wan. I'm excited for the rest.
Very excited.
There's a small shot of Vader. I think we might get a duel between Obi-Wan and Vader.
I think we will. I think
that's so exciting.
They are, and I don't know how they're going to explain it in terms of the history or the canon, where, in episode 4, where Vader says, I felt a presence that I haven't felt since, and he kind of trails off.
Yeah,
we don't know what that timeline is, so it's possible that they had met before.
More than just once.
I'm more excited of the rumors that if this really hits well, that Hayden Christensen might have a Vader spinoff series, which there have been some really great stories
with him,
in novels, and especially in the Vader comic book, that show how pained his character is. And yes, they've really made him kind of an anti-hero, but who we know gets redeemed, who we know has a redemption story. But everything from him in that Rogue One, just eviscerating rebels and uprisings, and in the comics where there's a great, he's literally surrounded by a battalion, and they're like, "We've got you surrounded," and he's like, "No, I'm just surrounded by fear and dead men," and then just obliterates this entire battalion.
So if they lean into the lore of Vader, that'd be fun for you.
Yep. And at the same time, there was an animated short that I think somebody did as like a student project, and it shows Vader at Padme's sarcophagus, at like her tomb, and he's mourning, and some of his enemies take that as an opportunity,
sign of weakness.
To try to take him out, and that doesn't go well for them. But just a lot of the thing about Vader is, how do you bring emotion into a faceless or to a stationary face of that mask? And that's always huge.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're right. Yeah. So we both liked Obi-Wan.
It was great
to see more.
We're a third of the way in, because it's only 6 episodes. And that hurts a little, but
it hurts a little, but you don't want to, I hate filler episodes. So you don't ever want a filler episode. Yeah. Just get it done. Speaking of that, there also dropped, I didn't watch a lot of it, believe it or not. I thought I'd be really into it. Stranger Things 4.
Yep.
I'm only in the middle of the second episode.
We were going to watch episode 4 before we signed on tonight, but it's an hour and 20 minutes. I mean, it's a feature film. I mean, it's that kind of length. And I'm like, I don't have to, I would have made it like 2/3 of the way through and then had to come on.
Yeah.
And been like, it's good, I don't know what's happening. And then my family would have been pissed because I would have made them turn it off. Because that's like a family show. We're watching it together.
What do you think of it so far, though?
This has got a lot more horror to it than anything we've seen out of this series before.
There were always episode was Freddy Krueger to the max.
It was, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was shocked. Yeah. And Ursula, I remember that, because Ursula goes, is that how the first episode ends? I'm like, yeah, that's the credits. Yeah, that's it. It's over.
There you go. We're laughing at a lot is that they are embracing the D&D Dungeons and Dragons, Satan's game.
Yeah.
That whole uprising of bullshit.
That basketball player that's like the leader of the basketball team, he looks like he's 29. And he's like saying, yeah, that guy's still in some fantasy.
And he's still there. And he's killing people. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I forgot, Sinclair, I'm just gonna say it, the black guy out of the group.
Yeah.
He was like, no, dude, Hellfire is not.
Yeah, he's like, no, D&D's just a game. But yeah, I mean, I was my parents were very much sucked in.
Yes, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. Yep. And my mom gave me a pamphlet it was an essay called The Christian Response to Dungeons and Dragons. And I actually found a PDF of it online a couple months ago and kind of perused it.
You sent it to me.
Oh my God. It was just so ridiculous and so reaching.
Well, that was back in the time before there was, let me check on this for myself. That was back in the time where it was like, hey, we're obviously an authority. You have to listen to us.
Yeah.
There's no
yeah,
checking.
that was
yeah. That's back in the day when why would the media lie?
Yeah. Why would they tell us that?
Yeah, why would they do that? Why would they twist something? What they don't have an agenda. They speak the truth.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
But I like that they're embracing that. And
I
then
think it's fantastic.
They're showing the absurdity of that whole movement.
Yes.
So
what's funny about that episode, I don't know if it's the first episode or the second one yet, but it's the one where they get Sinclair's sister to fill in for the role.
Yeah.
She breaks down on Lady Applejack and she goes through all the levels that she's at.
Yep.
And at the end of that, I paused it. I said, you know what's ridiculous? I understood every one of those.
Is that a boy?
And Ursula goes, did you really? I go, yeah. So Greg, I have you and your friends to thank for that. Fantastic. I understand. I understood all of that. I was like, oh wow, okay, she can do that.
Cool. She's okay. She ain't messing around.
Yeah, and then she looked at me and she goes, "You're such a nerd."
Oh, it's fantastic.
I have a bone to pick with everybody, by the way. And I know I'm wrong, but this is how I've always looked at it. Nerds build spaceships, like real life spaceships.
Oh yeah.
Geeks, I feel, is what we are.
I use the term.
We can't apply our nerdhood to real world. Well, maybe you can, because you've done some things like with teaching and stuff like that with nerd stuff. Right.
I use them interchangeably. I mean, some people are like, no, geeks are more computer based. Nerds are like the comic book people. I'm like,
I agree. Oh, no. I think I know you're like, what's the difference? But
I always they're synonyms to me.
I always feel like a geek is what I am. I'm not a nerd. A nerd is like, he can do calculus and he enjoys it.
Yeah. Nah, whatever.
Let us know, friends. Are you a geek or a nerd?
Nerd. Do you care? Nerd. Yeah.
All right. Hey, you saw Maverick?
I did see Maverick. I saw Maverick with about 25 of my friends.
And were there any guys with their shirts off playing a sport on a beach at all?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Shut the front door.
There is a definite homage to that. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't think they go that far.
Yep. And what's interesting. So the movie is over 2 hours long, which I think is good because I rewatched the first Top Gun not too long ago. Hey buddy, what's up? I watched the first Top Gun not too long ago, and that pacing of that movie is ridiculous. It is just like Top Gun as a course is like, I believe 8 weeks long. They say that you're going to Miramar for 8 weeks of fighter combat training or something like that.
Right.
And within that time, Maverick meets a girl, dates a girl, sleeps with a girl, then falls in love, then they kind of break up, then they get back together again. And you're like, this is 8 weeks. Give me a break.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just like, a little bit of training mission, then some classroom stuff, then training mission, and then some relationship building, and then training. It just bing. It's just constantly going. This one, they actually took their time a little bit to try to establish a story. And it's not bad. I mean, it's very much a throwback.
I heard it's kicked ass. That's what I've heard.
Well, number one, you're not going to this movie to get a real heavy story. You're going to this movie to watch the cinematography of aerial acrobatics is really what you're going.
Not only that, you're going back to when you first saw it.
Yeah.
You're going for nostalgia for sure.
And one of my friends, Jason, he and I talked about it yesterday. He's like, it's like Tom Cruise came in and said he pitched another Top Gun movie, like, hey, I want to make this. And they went, well, we'll hire some writers, we'll get the story together. He's like, no, we're gonna make it. Here's the story. And he kind of copied and pasted parts of the first movie, and then filled in the rest with some other references.
So it was too nostalgic.
But not all Top Gun. I mean, there's a thing in there. I don't even know if I should bring it up because you haven't seen it.
No, I haven't. And I'll be honest, I am not going to the theater to see this.
You're not?
No, I'm going to wait till this comes out.
You should. I want to see it in IMAX. Like, I really do.
Oh, was it that good though?
Oh yeah, I pay again.
Okay,
IMAX, sure.
Okay.
well, I feel like I can talk about it then. When they're detailing the mission,
Yeah.
okay, and I think this is probably on the internet, so it's kind of out there. They're detailing the specifics of the mission. We need to hit this specific target for these specific reasons, and you need to navigate a trench at a high rate of speed. And they're zooming in and out of this trench
So
at a
he
very
brought
low
Mission
altitude.
Impossible into it.
No. Well, a little bit, yeah, because they're like, no one can fly this. And that's why they bring Maverick in to train these other pilots who are all Top Gun graduates.
He was inverted.
And there's an inversion technique that they need to pull off. But it's when they're like, okay, you've got one guy running, like one flyer who's running a laser guided missile system. They're like teams of two. Like one flyer's got the bombs, the other guy's got the laser system. And they need the laser system because they need to pinpoint this I think they did say exhaust port that's no more than 3 meters wide.
How can they hit that? I'm waiting for the Luke Skywalker here.
Exactly. I'm like, as soon as they said 3 meters wide, I went, oh. And I turned to Chris. I'm like,
did he just do that?
Somebody better make a reference of bullseyeing WAP rats in their T-16 back home.
Exactly.
And then I just started laughing. Like, it's not a funny part. He's like going through the mission of how impossible this is. And I'm laughing in the theater. People, I'm sure, were like, what is he laughing at? That doesn't make any sense of why he's laughing. But yeah, it is a total Star Wars-y reference.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, oh, Tom. So it's like, okay, we're going to take this. We're going to take this. And have you guys ever seen Star Wars? No. Okay, then we can take this too.
Either that or he got it from L. Ron Hubbard's book.
Oh, well, and what's funny is the guy that actually is credited with directing the film is the same guy who did Tron Legacy, which to me is a totally underrated film.
Oh, I think it sucks.
Oh, I love it. And I think
I can give a shit about Tron.
And I know he's a Star Wars fan. So I'm like,
be a cool costume though. But
like guys on that set had to be like, really? They're like 3 meters? Like that's
or when they were at the table reading the screenplay and they went, really? And
so
nobody else sees this? Is this when Luke Skywalker walks in?
Yeah.
Is this when this happens?
Or just like, are we doing that on purpose? We're gonna do that on purpose. We're gonna okay, we're gonna do it on purpose then. And they just play it off as like a serious thing, and there's not one Star Wars crack, there's not one anything. I'm like, oh, all right, well, shit, that's what it is.
It's not Star Wars, Greg, because they had to fly through like
they had to go in and out.
Yeah, it wasn't just this nice little
and invert. So that's why it's different.
I still remember that scene in the first one because I was inverted and Slaughter goes, bullshit.
Yep. Val Kilmer makes an appearance, which is great because his health is not good.
Not good.
They worked him into the film in person, like you see him. So
nice, man.
It's overall it was a great sequel.
Yeah.
I liked it. Like I said, I want to see it again in IMAX because I want to see those aerial acrobatics in an IMAX screen. It's really made for that. And it will be a movie that I will probably search out like once every 5 years
to watch it,
just to be like, I'm gonna watch Top Gun. I'm gonna watch Maverick or something like that. Like,
nice.
It's not going to be a once a year viewing, or it's going to be one of those. It's on, and I'm folding laundry,
and I'm watching.
I'll watch it. Yeah.
Okay. You know what? He also just dropped the Mission Impossible trailer.
Yeah. Yep.
Part 1. Everybody's doing part 1s now.
Well, it's because it's he's doing a 2-part.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible movie.
I love the Mission Impossible, so the more the better. Like I never walk away from Mission Impossible going, well, that sucked. Yeah. I've never walked away from a Mission Impossible movie the way I've walked away from Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah. I will say I was not a fan of the second one. The long
John
hair.
Woo?
Yeah. I really wasn't a fan. It had nothing to do.
I can completely understand that. I get that.
It was more like the story just didn't grab me at all. But when he brought in like Simon Pegg and Jeremy Renner and like that whole night, I've enjoyed every one of those.
Yes, me too. I feel like their third one, they figured out where to go from there, and they just worked with it. It was good. It was great. Another trailer that I've seen a while ago, I wasn't a big fan, but I really want to see it now, is the Jurassic Park Dominion.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I want to see that. I was like, and what's funny is we were watching Jurassic Park in Florida, and it came on, and I was like, I forgot how good Jurassic World is. Like, it's actually good.
I like Jurassic World. Yeah.
The second one of that series, I was like, but the first one, I was like, okay, with Chris Pratt, this is actually good.
I almost feel like the second one, depending on how this one is, the second one was almost like a setup for this one.
Yes, without a doubt, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm, I've got a person in my house who is an absolute Jurassic Park fanatic. So, so he is super excited to see it. And
me too. Me too. I think it's gonna be good. Yeah. So I think
Alex, did you see the new Willow trailer?
Oh, I did.
The Willow series is coming out.
Yes.
I'm excited for that.
Me too. I mean, they have the wand and yeah, absolutely.
I love that movie. And I am unapologetically a fan of that. Again, going back to Val Kilmer, who just killed it in that movie.
Yeah.
Mad Mardigan. Absolutely.
First off, great name, Mad Mardigan. Yeah. But I watched it the second time recently, and I didn't like it as much as when I watched it as a kid. Go figure. That makes total sense. Yeah, really. But I was starting to watch it. The only part I didn't like was he was in a dress for a big portion of
a lot of the movie. Yeah.
And I don't know why I just didn't like that. But other than that, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And he can't get her to change right. And he's always fucking up. And yeah, I remember all that.
When Mad Mardigan gets his armor, I'm just like, oh
yeah,
I would love a set of Mad Mardigan armor. That would be so much fun.
My favorite scene actually is when he does that sword flip, when he goes, "You are great," and he does this flip and he catches it and he falls in the snow,
flips on the ice. And
yeah. Other than that,
there's just a lot of great action comedy in there. And
it was a great 80s movie.
Yeah, the villain with his skull.
Oh, God, helmet, fantastic!
Yeah, fantastic.
It seems like he's back. They showed it in the trailer.
Well, he died. He died pretty well. I wouldn't be surprised if someone copied his.
I was going to say, I bet you it's his son
or a flashback or something.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
it looks like it's actually going to be almost, dare I say, a D&D type group,
as it should be.
Yeah,
as it should.
And I was like, wow, this is great. The way they have them lined up, right? They have like Willow and this girl and this big guy with this big sword and like two other girls, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks fun. It looks great. I can't wait for it. Actually, I can't. My daughter's looking forward to Baymax.
Oh sure, yeah, that looks fun too.
Oh, she does.
Yeah. They've got some great stuff.
Yeah, they got some great stuff dropping down. So like Amazon's dropping stuff. Something's coming out next week. Oh, Mr. Matthew Riley's movie's coming out next week.
Yes, it is.
So we're gonna see I'm definitely gonna watch Interceptor and see what that's about.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely got a 90s action movie feel to it.
And you know what? That's kind of the same thing with Maverick. It's very much a late 80s action-y kind of film. Like even the character tropes of the fighter pilots.
Yeah.
Like no one's going off type at all. What I did like is there's some female fighter pilots and they are kick-ass, like every bit as much of kick-ass. And Krista did some reading on the actors themselves.
Yeah.
There's an actress in there with a call sign of Phoenix, and all of the pilots are like, she's the best one. Like she could take the G's, she could bounce back, she did everything better than anybody else. And so I thought, that was pretty cool.
Oh, you mean when they were training for it?
Oh yeah, when they were like taking them up, because they had to
fucking surprise me.
They had to train themselves.
Anybody that doesn't, or anybody that thinks a woman, and I'm serious, I'm dead serious here. Anybody that thinks a woman is less tougher than a guy, you have never seen a woman give birth.
Yeah,
like women are fantastic. They're the toughest. Like, there is no contest whatsoever. The toughest person in my house is my wife.
Yep.
Period. End of story.
A man takes a big poop and he cries a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give you a perfect example. So you guys came, we went to the Shed Aquarium.
Oh,
that
my God.
entire weekend, my wife was
passing a kidney stone. She didn't tell anybody.
She didn't tell a fucking soul. She didn't tell me privately. She didn't say, "Hey, you need to pick up some slack so I can help. So I can just get through this." She didn't say a damn thing until the end when she knew it was over.
Yeah.
And then she kind of was like, "I'm not doing here good, Johnny. You got to drive home." And I'm like, "What? What's going on?" She's like, I've been passing a kidney stone all weekend. I went, "Oh, weekend?"
Yeah.
Like, we've been doing things. What are you talking about?
You told me that, and I was like, what?
Yeah. She goes, I couldn't be a bad host. And I'm like, what man?
Yeah, really.
What man would do that? Man would be like, okay, you guys got to go home. I'm passing this. I'm going to be in the corner of my house crying. You know, like, I couldn't believe it. But that's a Tuesday for Ursula. Yeah. Honestly, I'm just going to be honest about that. She's the toughest woman I've ever met in my life. But anyway, every woman I've met is very tough because they're the glue usually in a family that holds it all together. And that takes a lot of strength. Moving on.
Yeah.
I went off track there. I did want to ask you one question though about Top Gun. Did they overdo the nostalgia?
Yeah. So Miles Teller plays the son of Goose.
Yes.
And Maverick, you get the idea that he has absolutely no closure on the whole situation with Goose. Okay. And
Maverick doesn't.
Maverick doesn't.
Okay.
And Rooster, who is Goose's son, is a fighter pilot, and he's really pissed off at Maverick for some other reasons. And like Maverick's keeping some secrets from him of like why he's pissed. And, it's just the whole, like, Maverick really hasn't dealt with the death of Goose. And you're kind of like, well, he kind of did deal with it though at the end of the first film, or at least we were meant to believe he did. And I understand that, sure, maybe he needed some more therapy after that, but you get the idea that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, when we open the film, Maverick is a test pilot for the Navy. Okay. And he's working on a project that going fast. He's like the fastest man alive. That's what they're trying to make him, is, super fast airplanes, stuff like that. Some things happen that you're like, nobody survives that. And Maverick does. And you're going, like, there's a couple times where you're like, Tom Cruise is going to die. No, wait, I forgot. It's Tom Cruise. His contract says he doesn't die in anything. So,
speaking of the amazingness of Tom Cruise, do you know that he set a record for Mission Impossible holding his breath for 6 minutes? And some girl just recently
I was going to say, did you know that record was just broken?
Who was the girl that broke it?
Titanic girl.
Kate Winslet. Yes.
Kate Winslet. Yeah. Kate Winslet. Yes. I was just say Kate
again.
Moss. I'm like, no, that's not her.
A woman kicking ass.
Yeah. Kate Winslet held her breath for like 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
Yeah.
Held her breath for 8 minutes. Like, I think that, I don't know if it's
for,
changed.
For Mission Impossible. Like, she's shooting like this part 2 of Mission Impossible, and she just broke that record.
Well, that was Kate?
Yeah.
For Mission Impossible?
I think.
Oh, take that, Tom.
I think the second one. I think that's because they're still filming the second.
I didn't know that. I didn't know she filmed it. I didn't know Kate Winslet's in that movie, much less
me neither.
The record during that. That's
it popped up on
something in Instagram.
I sent you some. I thought you sent. I thought it
doesn't matter.
Might have both. That's where we saw it. But yeah, that was the thing. So.
Yeah. All right. Love, Death, and Robots. How many have you watched?
I've watched all of them.
Yeah, you getting busy there?
Just give me a second.
Sure. So I watched I didn't watch all of them. I only watched episode 1 and the middle of the second one. That's where all I'm at right now.
I did a Saturday morning sit down by myself,
and just binge the shit out of it. Yeah. Okay. As good, better than the second, or on equal with the first?
Mm-hmm. More. I mean, I liked season 1 more than I liked season 2.
Agreed.
And I think this is somewhere in between season 1 and season 2.
Okay.
There are a couple that are great. There's one called it's like all minis, and it's a zombie invasion, and it's like Night of the Mini Zombies or something like that. Creative storytelling, just fun to watch.
Yeah. The animation on that one, I think it's like some sort of a temptress or something.
Oh, the Aztec.
Holy shit.
That's the last episode of the season.
Yes, my God. The animation on that was incredible to me.
To the point where I haven't really looked up a lot on it to know whether it is full CGI or is it just they're CGIing over some different things, but
motion capture.
Yeah, I mean, if it's motion capture, the detail on it is amazing because like you can't tell the difference in certain aspects of it.
Excuse me. Yeah.
So, a lot of tragic storytelling, in terms of like, oh man, that's rough kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some fun stuff. There's one about a farmer trying to get rid of his rats. Like I thought that was fun.
Okay.
I'm missing like I really want whoever in season 1 did the
werewolf soldiers.
Yeah. I so want them to do more. Like give me that as a series or a feature film.
Yes.
Of the US military employing werewolves in as like scouts and military. I would just absolutely love that.
Yeah. All right. I'm totally going to sidetrack the conversation because the reason I asked you is in Maverick, if they over nostalgia, is because Johnny was late to the party and just watched Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I thought that was perfect.
Yeah.
There wasn't really anything remotely wrong about that movie whatsoever. That's one of those movies. The only problem I had was what was the big deal with the old man in the coffin? Like, what was the point of him? He got ripped apart in 2 seconds. There was no point in that.
Oh, just the idea that Ivor Shandor was still alive and
trying to do that.
Yeah, that he had such an influence on the town.
Right.
That here he is in a glass coffin that he would literally wake up every so often.
Yeah.
And it played by
yes.
I'm gonna say J. Jonah Jameson, but that's not him.
No, it's not. But I thought it was when I first saw it.
Yeah, it's the same actor.
Oh, it's the same actor?
Yeah, but I can't remember his real name, unfortunately.
He's the farmer's guy. Dum. He also Jim Gordon.
Yeah, he was Jim Gordon.
JD. He's also the voice of Invincible. Nolan.
Yeah. J. Jonah Jameson.
No.
Played by.
He's a great actor. He's one of my favorite.
See,
he was Chris Pratt's dad in the Tomorrow War.
Why I love having Ken on the show because he knows these right away.
Oh yeah,
and you and I, who are usually really good at this, anytime you put us on a mic, we're like, "Oh, what's his name?" It's JD,
not JD. God, when you say it, I'm gonna freaking freak out because I'm gonna be like, "Oh yeah, it's him."
I can't even. What other movies has this guy been? Invincible. Okay. I can't even type today. This is just absolute. J.K. Simmons.
That's it. J.K. Simmons. Yep.
Yeah.
Great actor. I'm a big fan of his. Anywho.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Ghostbusters was the perfect meld of old and new.
At the end, it felt like. Like I'm talking about the end when they're like giving hugs.
Yeah, totally. I was a mess at the end of that movie.
I was shocked at how emotionally it caught me, and it made me think of the ending of E.T. There was like this, I don't know, this feeling where I was like, "Oh my God, this is the perfect '80s like movie," but it works in today. It works so well.
When Phoebe like digs in and starts to like hold her ground, and then you see the ghost hand.
Yeah.
And you're like, I mean, I got goosebumps, and I'm like,
yeah.
And you're like, it's fucking Egon. And you're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
I was impressed by all of it. I was like, wow, what a great story. The only thing Ursula forgets all this stuff. So she was like, I was like, I was figuring it out probably around the same time you were figuring out where I'm like, oh, he's going to be the key master. She's going to be the, you know, and I was doing that. And she goes, what the hell is the gatekeeper and the key master? I'm like, Ursula, gatekeeper.
Key master.
Yeah.
I like, I mean, and
it was just the perfect nostalgia.
Winston, who was the working class dude in the first movie, has now become a millionaire or a billionaire. Yeah. You're like, that's cool. And that's how they're gonna roll the next movie in.
Yeah, you sent me that.
Yeah, Pete Davidson and you know what?
Maybe Bautista. That's about it.
But here's the thing: are you gonna watch it?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah. So then we're I'm in. Whether I like it or not, I don't know. I think it's still Ivan Reitman who wrote and directed.
I thought he died.
Afterlife. Oh no, I'm sorry.
He did die.
He did die. It's his son. It's Ivan Reitman's son, Jason Reitman. Yeah, thank you.
Great job as a tribute to your dad, by the way. That was fantastic.
So I think it is Jason Reitman and Dan Aykroyd who were. I mean, the Reitman, like Ivan Reitman and Dan Aykroyd, were really the heart and soul of Ghostbusters.
Right, of
that's. Yep. Harold obviously had his piece. Everybody's thinking it was all Bill Murray. He showed up 4 days late to filming. Like, okay, just give me my lines and let me do my thing.
Yeah.
So he's not like, he's not involved in the storytelling of Ghostbusters or into like the whole, like the trademark of it.
Right.
But it's Jason Reitman and Dan Aykroyd that are heading up this new kind of resurgence of Ghostbusters material.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just too fun. It was such a fun, even like Ursula didn't want to see it. And I was like, well, we got, let's just watch it. And she was like, that was so good. I'm like, yeah, I'm shocked. Like what I mean by shocked, people, is that usually the way they're resurging these 1980s, these reboots, or if they're trying to connect it to the movies that we fell in love with, it just falls flat somewhere because I feel like they either throw too much nostalgia here or they're trying to world build and not make an actual movie.
It seems heavy-handed at some points.
And this one was just a perfect balance. Even the little music they would do here and there. And
the music cues, absolutely.
Oh yeah. I thought he did such a good job with not making it, oh man, this is just Ghostbusters all over again. They added to it, and I was just blown away by it.
And I will say, in Maverick, yes, there are parts that are heavy-handed.
Okay, that's why
that you're like, okay, well, this is obviously the token whatever scene that we're gonna have to have. So
okay, makes sense. Yeah. All right, man. Do we want to talk heavy or do we want to end it here?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, no, not with the time we got left. Let's just I'll just tell you all, so gun control is in the news again, and we were going to talk about it. I think we're going to pass and maybe talk about it next week or something like that. But there's a lot out there. The facts are still being uncovered from the 2 incidents that have happened recently, but there's still a lot out there, and it's kind of a resurgence of stuff. And like, this is a point where people can have their opinions sway one way or the other. So you have people who are staunch and they won't move, but then you've got other people who are like, okay, well, maybe enough is enough, or maybe we need to change some things, or maybe let's look at it from this perspective or whatever. So
I'll say this. I definitely think we need to change things. What those changes are, I don't have them, but you can't look me in the eye and say it's working. That's all.
That's very much yes. Like somebody went up to Ted Cruz in a interview and were like, it was a foreign reporter who was asked, why is this a uniquely American problem? And a lot of people, and I've heard their arguments like, well, it's not a uniquely American. Well, these things happen in other countries, but not at this scale and not as often. So I believe it is a pretty uniquely American problem. I think there are some things to help curb it, but we can talk about that next week.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So,
yeah. So,
all right, dude.
I know I have other things to say, but I just can't remember them. But I just
what?
To
it's good. It's a holiday.
Yeah.
We can.
So what I'm going to do real quick is instead of Greg giving you his usual thing, I'm going to get us out this way. Sorry, that's not the way.
That is not the way.
Other way, it's a guy talking. But I'm going to have us go out with some style in about 4 seconds.
Not taking my shirt off.
No, you're not taking your shirt off. Here we go.
We're going to get tagged for that. Yeah, I know.
Take it in. Just take it in. We are getting tagged for this, by the way. So for the Greg, this is Johnny saying take care. Podcast out, everybody. Have a great week. We will see you next Sunday.
Hey, guys.
Just hanging there a little bit longer, you think? Or we get
no, cut it. Cut it before YouTube gets banned at us.